But good evening, everybody. It is lovely to have you here once again on the yard. It's a little bit after 1 p.m. in Pago Pago, which is in American Samoa, of course. And when it's 1 o'clock in Pago Pago on Thursday, that can only mean one thing. It's time for another episode of The Yard. In addition to broadcasting on our Zoom channel, we're being seen currently on Facebook Live, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, and we are recording live, and past episodes can be accessed on YouTube. If you go to Commissary Club, you'll see many of them. I think we're close to 40 episodes into this now. And as we've mentioned before, very soon, we will be seen on hundreds of thousands of tablets that are in jails and prisons from coast to coast. And we'll probably have close to 1 million men and women who are currently incarcerated will have access as well. So we're very excited about that. That's coming soon, and you'll hear more about it. The Yard, of course, is a production of Commissary Club, which is the first social network for 70 million Americans who have a criminal record. My name, of course, is Richard Bronson. I'm the founder and CEO of Commissary Club, as well as 70 Million Jobs, which is the national employment platform for folks with criminal records. Now, if you're like a lot of people, you've been watching the Olympics, and it's very hard to think of the Olympics without thinking of people like, Jesse Owens and Mary Lou Retton, and of course, Seth Sundberg, who was a standout on the Dream Team. Seth, not everybody knows.
D, we gotta do something about that.
Yeah, we gotta do something with this guy, man.
I'm giving you the attention that you deserve. Seth went to school at the University of Hawaii, and he majored, of course, in basketball, but he had a minor in the SPAM culinary arts. And when he wasn't on the basketball court, of course, Seth became known as a great distance swimmer. So had his career path gone differently, he probably would have been in the Olympics today. More importantly, we're joined tonight by our dear friend and considerable multifaceted talent, rapper to the stars and entrepreneur par excellence. I could only be speaking of Divine, who's also one of our teammates.
How come, Richard? How come I went to the Olympics on some team that I was never on and all this stuff, and like D hasn't been with Jay-Z, you know what I mean, like selling out the Garden and all this stuff. Like how come I'm the only one that's got to take those shots?
You gotta get all the fluff, man.
Hey, fame is a lonely path to walk, but you did it. There's no
standing tall, Seth. You do it standing tall.
Today, I would love everybody to know about this. Today, Divine was a guest speaker, Udacity, who's one of our partners and who is offering many scholarships so that folks who normally wouldn't have access to the sort of training that they provide online, we're going to be distributing these scholarships to deserving men and women, who would have a record. And today, Divine gave a speech to the Udacity. I don't know if they were the marketing team or the
global sales team, Richard, for social impact.
Sales team.
Social impact.
A lot of people, and he was great. And his subject was, from the streets, from crack to rap to tech. And he talked about his sort of arc and ending where he is now, and that includes working with us. But if you ever have a chance to hear Divine speak, he's a powerful, charming, funny, great speaker. So, which wasn't surprising, but it was great.
Thank you, Richard.
It's very true. As I mentioned, we got a lot going on at Commissary Club and 70 Million Jobs. So here's, our plug, our shameless plug, our employment business, which went to zero when the coronavirus hit, literally, is exploding now. And we're turning away business from big companies who, as I'm sure you're aware, are having a lot of trouble finding people to fill positions. So they come to us because we have people nationwide who are mostly ignored and yet are amazing workers when given the chance. So that's good news for them. It's good news for us. And we will shortly be launching our mobile-only apps for Commissary Club. We're doing that in partnership with Dream Chasers record label and me, Camille. And we're doing a talent search inside a prison and outside a prison. Dream Chasers and Rock Nation are looking for artists that they may have the opportunity, that they may be interested in signing to their record label. And they've never had this opportunity to really access, this pool of talent before we came along. So we're very excited about that, particularly of how it'll play out in prison. There's lots of talent in prison, in music, in art, in literature, in everything. So they're well deserved. They deserve, to get some attention. Let's see, back to the art. As people who will frequently visit us, our focus is mostly on the in-prison experience. So that's what we'll be focusing on, at least initially. And then at the end, we'll talk to our guests about what they're up to now. And, if you have questions or comments, use the chat feature at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to join the conversation, let us know. Now, normally you'd be seeing Adrian, who would be running the show behind the scenes. But Adrian, I'm happy to say, is out on vacation this week. So filling in ably is our very own Amanda. And Amanda works with us as a graphic artist and as a marketing associate. She does a lot of great stuff when you see our social media, all the cool things that we have there she's responsible for. So if you want to join the conversation, reach out to Amanda and we'll see what we can do. All right. Now, I have to admit, I'm not a man of many pleasures, God knows, but one of my current guilty pleasures, and maybe everybody is aware of this and I just discovered it, but on Facebook, there are these little film clips that you can play one after another, and you can play it all day. And you can choose the topics. I like watching the jungle animals, like the lions hunting the gazelles. I find that really interesting. but I swear it's true. But there's other content that I've become obsessed with. And that is, there are these guys, mostly guys, call themselves First Amendment auditors. And I don't know, do you know what that is? I didn't know. Maybe everybody else does.
There's a ton of guys that are like that inside too.
Like freedom fighters and shit.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, these guys,
they're specialists.
They're walking around and they have, these video cameras and these GoPros. And what they like to do is they go to these public places like post offices and city halls, and they go outside of prisons, and they just take video of all of these public places. And their contention is that the Constitution and the First Amendment gives them the right to be in any public place, and anything they can see, they're allowed to videotape. That's what the law is, and it's been affirmed by the Supreme Court. Now, everywhere they go, they run into police and security guards who apparently don't know this law. And they get in fights with every single one of them. And they really look for the fight. They're looking for confrontation so that they can call out these police departments that they're trampling on people's rights. Along the way, I think they're very rude to just normal people who happen to be there, who really don't want to be photographed. I think people should have the right not to be photographed, but nonetheless, that's what they do. So I would like you just, to think about the rights we have and how more and more, it seems, our rights come under attack. And, as some of these auditors say, rights are like muscles. If you don't use them, you lose them. So what I'd like everybody to do, and we do this almost on every episode of The Yard, is if everybody could just first for a moment, just shut your eyes. Close your eyes. Trust me, this will be painless. Close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. And hold it, and then just let it out slowly. Okay? And I want you to imagine, frequently these clips, they are of people in their cars being pulled over by cops. And, a cop comes to your window and his partner is on the other side of your window and their hand is on their gun. And, they start ordering you around and they start telling you to do things and they make you answer questions. And these First Amendment auditors, they say, listen, you're under no obligation. If you haven't broken the law, you're under no obligation to do any of this stuff, and you're certainly under no obligation to incriminate yourself if you have done something wrong. That's a basic right that we have. And you're under no obligation when they say, hey, do you mind if we take a routine look through your car? No big deal. It's a routine look. We do it all the time. And 9 times out of 10, people go yes, because they're afraid or intimidated. But sometimes, the cops go in there, they had no probable cause, they had no reason to pull you over. And all of a sudden they're rooting through your life and maybe they discover something. Maybe they discover a half an ounce of pot you have there. Maybe they discovered an open bottle of wine or whatever. Not a major thing. But as soon as they find that, all of a sudden the situation gets escalated and they tell you to get out of the car and lean against the car and put your hands behind your back and they handcuff you and they demand that you take a breathalyzer, and all of a sudden you're being taken off to the prison station, to the police station, I should say. And, unfortunately, this is not your first run-in with the law. Like 7 years ago, you had a problem before. So this is your second time, your third time. It's not a huge thing. But in the aggregate, in this world we live in, 3 times and you're out. Now you got an assistant district attorney in some little town who wants to, show how tough he is, or a judge who's about had it for people who look like you. And they sort of throw the book at you. And now all of a sudden, because you were a nice guy who was a little bit intimidated when the cops came to your door in your car, now you're in prison for 3 or 4 years. And now you're waking up and you realize once again, it's not all a dream. You are in prison and you are in this tiny little cell and your cellmate or your cellie is waking up alongside of you, except your cellmate's coughing and wheezing and having trouble breathing. And maybe you're in Florida where I am, or maybe you're in Louisiana where Seth is, where the Delta virus is running rampant, and you haven't gotten a vaccination. Most people in prison haven't. And you're scared shitless. And it all hits you, how your life just took this terrible turn because somebody decided that your rights as an American citizen at that moment didn't mean nothing. Your life in prison is pretty awful, except once a day when they let you outside, they let you out on the yard and you can hang out with the people you actually like. And you could laugh and you could argue and you could share good news and bad news from home. And that's a reprieve, We've got a couple of guys with us today that, we would be hanging out with out in the yard when we were in prison. And we know that you would really actually enjoy meeting them. So now would be a good time for you to introduce them. Number one, please everybody welcome Andray Hall. Hey, Andray, how are you, sir?
What's going on? Peace, people. How y'all doing?
Andray did 27 years in federal prison for drug dealing. 27 years. He got out, and now Andray works with people who are first going away to prison, and he advises them and explains, helps them understand what lies ahead and what to do and what not to do so that they can be a little bit prepared. Joining Andray is his buddy, a man by the name of Craig Kelly. Craig and Andray were friends in prison. Craig was in prison for 20 years, and he's been out for 7 years now. Both of these guys live in New Jersey, and they are both great guys that we're very appreciative to have join us. Hey, Craig, how are you? Craig?
Oh, you're muted. You're muted, bud.
Craig, keep your thing unmuted.
There you go.
Okay.
You're
Craig,
good now.
nice to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. All right. So, Andray, this is not an interview, but let me get things started a little bit. You're advising people now how to survive going away to prison. So tell me, before we talk about your experience in prison, what is the one best piece of advice you could give somebody who is tomorrow being taken away to prison? What should they know?
Mind your business. Mind your business. That's the number one rule.
Mind business, man.
Yeah, that's good.
That's it.
Your nose clean, man. Mind your business, man.
That's it.
Great.
That's the
That's
number
great.
one rule.
How do people respond when you say that? Are they like, yeah, it makes sense, or like, oh, what are you talking about?
I tell you this, right? A lot of people really don't understand, right? They think this world is so perfect until they get, intertwined with all the criminal activities, right? So most people in this day and time, they really fucked up, meaning that they rats, they go telling everybody, so they don't know how to not mind their business.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
So, but if you go in that little small ass box, that prison, right? And you sit there, you start snitching here. First thing they're gonna do is, well, back then they burn your bed out, right? They break in your locker, they bust your head with they put a lock in the sock, bust your head. So I tell them,
busting?
huh?
You get the head busting?
Yeah, and they deserve it. Rightfully so, listen to me. But that's the number one rule. Mind your business.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, man, because like there's this thing that I don't know if it's recognized. I mean, everybody that's been through the system recognizes it for sure, but like you can be guilty by association times 10 in there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Seth, it's funny you said that, right? I was telling my grandson, he's 10 years old today, if you hang out with a guy who steal, they're gonna think you're a thief. If you hang out with a guy who take dick, he's gonna think you're a fag. So stop hanging out with type of people, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I'm anti for cursing, right?
You're in the yard, man. You
no, this is the yard, man. This is the yard, bro. Everything goes.
Right. So, and I tell you,
you can kill him in the yard if you need to.
Yeah.
Damn. Deep.
Right? So that's where. So listen, and that's where you right. You are guilty about who you be with.
Yeah.
Okay. Most people.
Yeah, like who.
Yeah.
Just who you walk on the track with, like whatever. You know what I mean? If they're doing something, even if you're not around it or anything like that, you're keeping your nose clean, but you're walking the track with this dude, or these people, whatever, every day. You if they get hemmed up, you're getting hemmed up too.
Steph, let me tell you this. First, they don't pull you up. Hey, that guy's about XYZ.
Yeah.
Right? Listen to somebody on his ass. They're gonna tell you, look, man, he's a rat, or he's a child molester, he this, he that. They're gonna pull your coat first.
Yeah.
And you be with this guy, now you're a part of that shit, right? Yeah. You're part of, or you may not have done it, but if you with him all the time, then you agree with it. So therefore, you're part of that problem there too.
Yeah, for sure.
When I was in prison, the second day I was there, I was talking to some guy, he was in my housing unit. I didn't think one way or another. Later in the day, someone came over to me and said, hey, come take a walk with me. And I go, what does this mean? You know, this does not sound good. And he took me into the mess hall, and he took me back into the kitchen, and we went around and in one refrigerator unit and around a big table and whatever until we were at the very back. And the head chef, who was an inmate, was there with a bunch of people around him. And, you know, he was a big shot in the prison. And he mentioned the guy's name. And he said to me, what are you doing talking to that guy? And I go, what do you mean? I have no idea who he is. And he went on to tell me he's a bad guy, and he ratted somebody out and got somebody into trouble, and you'd be smart if you stayed away. And that was sort of like an amazing piece of prison, you know, slap in the face, you know, that you see in a Humphrey Bogart movie, but I wasn't expecting to actually live it. So let me ask you, Andray, when you first got to prison, you know, when it was all new to you, what were your first impressions when you walked in there?
Damn, I fucked up. I got 38 years. I ain't never come home. So that's my first impression. But back then, I started from at the time, Lewisburg Penitentiary, during that time then, was one of the worst pens you go to, like one of the worst prisons you could go to, right?
What made it so bad?
You fuck up, you get murdered. So everything was for real. Everything was real. So how real it was, if you get somebody killed on a block, only that block shut down and the population is still open, right? Back then. Right. So that's how, so they was used to all that. Back then, it was 60% of the murders in the whole system happening in that building back then. Jesus. But the good thing about it, it was so many old guys from all over, no matter where they from, right? They always have some good advice to give to you. You know, I remember walking down the hallway with some headsets, and this old white guy was cleaning, he was mopping the hallway. He tapped me and said, yo, take the shit off your fucking ears. I didn't get mad. I knew that if he told me that, it was something like
it's good looking out.
You have to listen, you have to hear what's going on around you. So from that point on, I never put headsets in that building again, walking that hallway.
Yeah.
You know, so in the feds, it's like different levels, which I've been on every level, from the top all the way to the bottom. All right. So even and Craig, which is we call him Gucci, right? And he tell you, you know, he's a very hyperactive guy. You know, he don't care who you is, he'll curse you out. Right? He don't care who you is, man, and he'll curse you out. So guys like him, you know, I enjoyed them because, you know, being away for a long time, that parenthood shit you lose.
What's that again? What'd you just say?
The parenthood, right?
Yeah.
Being a parent. You know, I have a son 35, I have one 30. So I needed little brothers like Craig and other little guys who, I had so many sons in the system, right? So many sons.
How old were you when you went away?
I was 27, came on 54, right? And I was 27 years old, came on 54, and I've been on 4 years, right?
Okay. So when you first went away, you were at a max or penitentiary.
Yes.
Yep. What was your state of mind? Were you very frightened, or did you feel like you were going to be okay, or what was going through your head?
Well, you know what? So we from New Jersey, right? And in that federal system back in the 70s and 80s, there's a lot of guys from New Jersey who had good names, right? Good reputations, who set a lot of things in place for us. So all we had to do is just follow that lead, you know? I wasn't a rat, that's for number one, okay? I went in with 2 feet, I was coming home with 2 feet. But far as the fairness, no, the only thing what bothers you every day is you see the brick walls, them high as wall, see the police in the gun tower with the rifles, is how the fuck I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
You fantasize every night of look out the window, damn, If I can just get over that wall here, I'm gonna go this, I'm gonna go that. So it was a fantasy at night, right? In the daytime, you had a lot of older guys grabbing young guys, bring them to the law library. So you get a false hope that you're going home.
Huh, a false hope.
Yeah. You know?
Jailhouse lawyers, man, they reel you right in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a false hope because you think you're going home, you believe in the law, but during the time, President Clinton became president, he signed this fucking crazy outrageous bill to keep us in. But everybody was happy about the Democrat president, right? He jumped up and down when Clinton became president. He turned around and kept all of us in.
Right. Did you think when you first were brought into prison and you were looking around that you had a chance of escaping? Was that something that you actually considered seriously?
Listen, everybody who's been in jail fantasized about getting the fuck out of here. So if you tell me you didn't fantasize getting out of here, there's something wrong with you, right?
They didn't give you enough time. Shit.
Listen, even, hey, Devon, listen. So people do jail differently, right?
Yep, that's right.
Me, I was a guy who kept trouble down. You know, I kept that guy right there all the time. He ready to go all the time, right? Matter of fact, come on in, Gucci. So this guy, you know, he's a wild card. He speak his mind. He don't care. You the police, fuck you too.
Okay.
We just got to get him off mute.
Let's get Craig on here. Craig, keep your thing off mute, please. We want to talk.
Can you hear us?
Mute.
There you go. Yep, now I can.
Okay, so I got to ask you, number one, how did you get the name Gucci?
It came because I was a jack of all trades. I was good at a lot of stuff, and people wanted to see that in jail because they needed entertainment. So I played sports. I talked politics. I knew common facts and common knowledge, and I was like a go-to guy. You know, that's like top of the line. So they consider that Gucci. So
top of the line, you were. Okay.
Gucci, you good, baby.
Right. If you needed to know anything about anything, you probably should come and ask me first.
Yeah. So when he was a good reader. He would read all the time and come out of this fucking TV room with all the answers, right?
The almanac.
Gucci. Gucci, man.
Shit right here. He come in, he'll argue you down, right? But he had the facts in his back pocket. So he knew the facts. Yeah.
Now let me pay homage to something that Ali, aka Andray Hall, was saying. I was able to do a lot of things that I was doing because, like him, he told you that old heads came before him. He came before me. So when I met up with him, he was already considered the mayor.
Right.
So I'm with the mayor.
Right.
So I'm gonna do what I want to do because the mayor, I know he got my back. I mean, within reason. I ain't doing no crazy stuff, but I mean, I'm ready. But out of the respect that he gave to me and he taught me, I come up under him.
Okay.
So that's how prison goes.
So that's like sort of like a mentorship sort of situation.
Absolutely a mentorship.
Is that available? You know, I didn't go to a high-level penitentiary. If you're a young guy coming to prison and you're humble and you mind your own business, is that sort of relationship available? You know,
it's not enough.
No,
it's not enough. You got to be with somebody. You have to be with somebody.
Yeah, for real.
You have to be with somebody. We call it a car in a federal prison. What car are you with? The Ohio car, the Mississippi car, the New Orleans car? What car? Who are you with?
The new way of saying like group or gang.
No, basically that's what it is.
I know, but it's a more less loaded negative connotation by saying car.
Yeah.
If you're a Muslim, then you're a gang. You with the Muslims.
Right, no doubt. You in a car.
Yep.
You in the NOI car. You in a Sunni car. You in a Shiite car. You know what I mean? You with the Hebrew Israelite car. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
Right. You know.
That's
you
what
already know.
Yeah.
What if
I know, man.
What
And
if you don't have a car?
Well, your ass is walking.
Yeah.
No, listen,
you're gonna be sleeping.
Right.
You ain't in no car.
Are you gonna get in the car? Are you gonna get in the car?
Right.
but you have some people who, Coach, I remember, I don't know if you remember this guy, white guy with the glasses, right? And his name is Paul. He just stopped talking. Remember, he wouldn't talk to nobody.
Yep. He went on the talking fast. Yup. He said he went on
talking
the
fast.
Quick. Yup.
We should adopt that.
Yup.
Yeah, we should adopt that.
Yo, he didn't talk for 4 years, right?
Yup.
Wow.
Yup.
To nobody. He's right sit down. And when he told me he was gonna do that, I said, oh man, get the fuck out of here. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
So he didn't have no car. Everybody thought he was crazy. Right?
Yeah.
But he
Nobody want him in their car.
no, you know what? But he's coming
That's
right.
what allowed him to live.
Right.
That
That's
was
what
out, yeah.
That's wild,
agree.
man. Wow. I never even heard that one.
Believe me. No, it's a
It
lot.
sounds like some movie shit.
And I will say that prison is the most racist place I ever been in my life.
Hmm.
Prison.
Yeah, it is.
How does the racism show itself where it's so much worse?
What
The
up?
white people hang with the white people, the Spanish people hang with the Spanish people, and the black people hang with the black people. And if you break that code, you in trouble.
Yep.
They on that ass, man.
Guess what? I'm gonna tell you this with all y'all guys who've been in prison, even whether it's a little time or big time. When you win that mess hall, where you sat at?
You said,
People.
With
Your
your
people.
area. And the mess hall is the most racist spot you could be in.
Most segregated, we'll say, right?
Segregated.
very segregated.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about cars too, right? A car is just a nice way to say this is, there's a lot of politics that happen in prison, right? Like, and that's, like we were talking about the same kind of topic of who you walk the yard with, who you walk the track with, like whatever they're doing, you're taking that on, even if you're not doing any of it.
Exactly.
So you gotta be,
Show me who you hang with, and I'll tell you who you are.
yeah,
That's right. That's right.
yeah,
Profile real quick, man.
yeah.
Real
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah.
So
Is it
question-
not? I was gonna say, I've heard, I didn't do state time, but I heard that the state is actually less political than the feds. You guys hear that?
Yeah, the feds is always, people from all over the world here, right? You meet people, I still get on the phone talking, you can put any part of the world, I still call somebody, I'll call somebody and talk to them, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you this right here, here's the thing. So I was actually, I believe me and Gucci was talking to Amanda, and we were trying to figure out like with the concept of the yard, like you got this nice program, which is a beautiful platform, right? Beautiful platform.
Thank you.
For us, right? The yard is more intimate, no matter what, it's more intimate, right? If something happened to your family, hey man, I met you in the yard, you walk the yard, you talk about this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If something happened in the prison, or you had an argument, or your kid might just hung up on you, or you might call your girl, some guy answer the phone to my motherfucker, don't call you no more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like so intimate, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we see a yard, and
But by the same token, Andre, even where I was, you couldn't show weakness. You couldn't be crying. You might be sharing an intimate kind of conversation with somebody, but you had to keep a blank kind of face.
It depends on who you were, what car you was in.
right. And plus, and you're right, Gucci. It depends who you was, because you got real men. No matter what, some men cry. Some men lost their family. Some men cry. You can't say you cry, you weak. No, he's a man. At the end of the day, don't cross that line because he'll put that knife in you. So it's the rules. The number one rule is go in and come out the same way.
Yeah.
Is that possible after 27 years?
Well, listen, it ain't possible mental, because I think everybody who do a lot of time is crazy as shit, right?
Yeah, you're a little crazy though.
Huh?
Yeah, you're a little crazy.
No.
Join the club. We're all burnt at some level.
Hey, so I think this, and you come home, man, and everybody had some outrageous goal, Everybody want to be successful from the door, right? Everybody want to be this, oh, I'm the man again. And when you get home, you think that people gonna give you $200,000-$300,000. You get $200,000 or $300. You fucked up, right? Now you gotta go ahead, you gotta get a work job, and you know, you can't own your own business. Everybody's a fucking book writer, right? Everybody write books, everybody want to do this. They ain't sell not one copy of a book, but they're a book writer, right? They broke his shit, and next thing you know, the word recidivism comes into play. You know, they messed up, they're going back in. So, you know, I guess, you know, I talk to a lot of guys who come on, they call me, and Gushka's contested this. I had a lot of kids in that prison.
Yeah.
And when I had a lot of sons.
Word.
Yes, and it's people that come, you know, guys like their mentor, they talk, you know, but most of all, I had a lot of sons, no matter where it was from.
Yeah.
You know, I took
Ali. So Ali,
Yeah.
you've been out for 7 years, you said, right?
27.
20. How long you been out?
Well, how long you been out?
I've been out for 4 years.
4 years. Well, congratulations to you.
Yep.
Statistically, you should already be back. But I'm wishing you much success, my brother. You know, because I know you carry a lot of wisdom, man. And I know it's not easy coming home. You know, it's easier to go back than it is to, you know, transition into a positive life after doing all that time, man. So I wish you the best. I want you to know we here to support you, Commissary Club, man. You know what I mean? Yo, stay strong, stay positive, my brother. You too, Craig. Word.
I know, I definitely appreciate it, man, right? But let me just tell you something, hey, Devon. For me, my transition was easy. I didn't have no problems. I knew what I wanted to do.
Right.
Going back to prison, that's for number one. I got a very strong support system.
Good.
So I came on June the 6th. June 20th, I had my store.
Great.
Right?
Entrepreneurship. All
I
right.
stayed in my store for a time being, for most time, because I was, you know, I had a place with my sister. Or I was off an apartment for my brother. But the area I didn't want to be in these little areas. And as far as my sister, you know, she had a dear friend of mine, that's what she go out with. I didn't want to hear a guy fucking my sister in the next room. So
Word.
I was, yeah, right.
Word. Nah, we ain't doing that.
I went in my store.
Exit stage left, baby.
Yep. And then I was dating this woman out of Greenpoint, New York, Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, no doubt. My people's at Fort Greene. I know
Right.
Brooklyn.
So she was a Japanese violinist.
All right.
When I first came home, right? I went to Lincoln
That sounds
Center.
sexy, man.
I love that motherfucker. But you know what though? So you never know who you are until you meet somebody who's on point.
Right.
And I wasn't strong enough to hold on to her, right?
Right.
I couldn't do it.
Right.
Now I have a woman here. After 3 years being with her, we finally get on the same page.
Right.
And I don't know if it's for any of y'all, but for me, my hardest thing was being in a relationship, how to cope, how to do it, you know, what's right, you know, because
How to compromise, how to talk, how to communicate.
Because you know how women always, what? Who the fuck you talking to?
Right, that prison shit come out, right? That prison shit come out. Yeah, people talk you crazy, that prison shit come out.
Hey, Gucci, that's for you.
Yo, Gucci, they talk you crazy. Somebody talk you crazy, that prison shit come out, man.
Automatically, right?
Yo, who the fuck you talking to, man?
They bump you, you look, yo, hey, right? Like you all.
Word up.
Right.
That shit's no click for me sometimes, man.
I'm gonna let Craig come in, because I know there's this guy here. I know, because he'll call me sometimes. He cussing out kids, telling about stop doing this, stop doing that. You're going to prison, and he'll put me on the phone with these guys here, right? So he got look, go ahead, Gucci.
Gucci.
What y'all want to know? What y'all want to talk about? I take my life serious.
Because you have a good woman, and y'all go all over the country.
I've been dealing with this. I was dealing with this woman before I went to prison, so I came home to her.
So do you feel like
she was there for 20 years for you?
She did it. I mean, I ain't gonna tell you that me and her was together in a relationship, but she did the whole bit with it. I pick up the phone. Yes. I don't care if she has a much pipe in her mouth. She gonna pick the phone up, and whatever I need, she gonna make sure that I'm okay. Did you
Okay.
get your birthday present? Did your mother get the gift I sent? You get that money I sent you? Did you get that book? You need anything? You want me to come up here? And whatever she's doing with her life, I don't want to know. Those are things you don't want to know. Two things that you don't want to know in prison. You don't want to know what the date is. So don't look at no calendars. And don't get on that phone asking no girl what she doing.
Right.
All that.
Yeah.
Well,
let me
that's what they're doing.
I've seen so many guys in the phone room get mad and snatch the phone out the wall because they're mad because their girl didn't answer the phone or whatever. And that hurts everybody. He probably gonna get his ass kicked after that because once they do that, they're gonna turn the phones off.
Yeah.
Yep. But think about this right here, right? So I seen so many guys, right? Like he said, that's the phone, slam it down, contact the bitches and hoes. But soon nobody ain't looking. Yeah, baby, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now, once the woman realize that you the chump ass motherfucker, she gonna say fuck you and have the phone. Oh mother, what? You sorry? Oh, you the chump. Fuck you and have that phone. Yeah, this how shit go. Man, look, that shit is real. Guys listen, they go to their bed, they can't breathe, they can't eat, all over, bro.
I told this story. I told a story before, but when I first got to county, a couple months in, and county was hell, right? Like I did a year in county. If you guys did county time, it's the worst of the worst, right? That's any wrongdoings I felt like I paid for in that first year in county, right? But like there was a dude for like I was probably 6 months. Every Saturday night, he would scream out. He wasn't even in our pod. He was like down the hall. He would scream out, "It's Saturday night. Do you know where your woman is?"
That's right.
But you could just feel like everybody just go deflated, like, oh.
All right. So excuse me,
Because of
Seth.
those exact reasons, let me say this real quick. Because of those exact reasons, I did my whole 20 years and never took a visit. I never took a visit. I never had a hug. I never seen anybody face to face.
You refused to visit?
Wow.
Refused everything.
Gucci, you refused to visit?
Yeah.
Like someone came and you said, no, I'm not going out to the visit?
Never went out.
Wow.
Man.
That's extreme. So let me take a minute here to reset the room for people who have just come in. We're talking on the yard with Andray Hall, who did 27 years of Fed time, and his buddy, who he was down with, Craig Kelly, himself did 20 years. They've been out of prison between 4 and 7 years, respectively. A couple of things from our listeners that they asked about or commented on that I wanted to share. Charles Glasper, who's a new name to me, I think. So if this is your first time here, Charles, welcome and thanks for joining us. You wrote, "Man, this shit is raw," and it is, and uncut, it definitely is. I guess Charles is from San Jose, California. San Jose has nothing but state time. I'm feeling this. So thank you for sharing that, Charles, and thanks for joining us. Jane Jones, who's with us every week, asked a question, and I'm glad she did. I think it was you, Andray, but it could have been you, Gooch, who was talking about, you did, Andray. You were saying that you met somebody who was on point. And Jane asks, what does that mean for someone to be on point?
So that means that somebody is, in the right place, right?
They got their shit together.
They got their shit together, basically. I didn't want to curse at you, Jane, but listen, they got their shit together. But, so you know how you say, damn, man, like you on point, like you good, basically.
Yeah, you understand this, you got it. Now, let me ask you a question. Andray and Gooch, please respond to this. Andray, you were talking about that you had a real support system. You had family that when you came out, who were there for you. And Gooch, you even talk about the woman in your life who stuck with you more or less for 20 years. What is the person, but that's not the normal thing. That's not average. People go away to prison, they lose everything very often. They lose family, they lose friends over time. how does that person stay on point and keep their shit together when they have a long bid to do?
That person is in trouble.
Right. So look, I have a few guys like this, right? And right now, because they been coming home getting their CDL, I know a few guys, and I see them now. They're driving trucks up and down and shit here, right? So look, you don't have to go back to prison if you don't want to. Because if you want a job, they pay your way through going to a trucking school for free, right? They give you your CDL license. They let you drive a truck. You can make $40 an hour or whatever it is, okay? You can work. So people, believe it or not, the honest truth, and Gucci might contest to this. We come home, we do a lot of time. You still locked up mentally.
We always gonna be locked up.
We locked up no matter what. We
That's
still
the
do
real
Are you
conversation
locked
right
up now,
there.
Gooch?
You
We
know,
always
and-
gonna be locked up.
Are you
But
locked
let
up
me
now?
say this. I'm locked up. But let me say this. A lot of people have no resources. Now you can come home and get a CDL and get this or get that and the third, but you also got to take into consideration that there's some people who ain't gonna be able to do none of that because they have nothing but their social security card when they come home from prison.
right, and then that's just why. But so you listen, I believe if a person want to stay home, right, it's hard. So the deck is stacked against us. So let's make that clear,
The
right?
deck is stacked.
They lock you up, and then they tell you, they let you out and say, go ahead and make it the best way you could.
And
So
they
this-
change the rules every day.
The rules always
But,
change.
but let's not talk. I'm not so interested in when you're out. I want to know when you're there for 20 years and you don't have that support system. You're
You are in
not.
trouble. You are
You're
in trouble.
Listen,
If you don't have no money on your books, if you
$5
don't have
$30
nobody
a month.
sending you no mail, if you don't have nobody sending you no cards, somebody telling you that they love you, what are you to do? Your back is up against the wall. You
I was
probably
there. I know.
go
That's right.
and probably go out there and try to make a name for yourself and do something to make yourself feel like something.
right?
And that's the
There's a lot of
reality.
psychological shit going on, man.
Yeah.
A
A
lot.
lot of mental shit going on.
You know what?
A lot.
I'm glad you said that. You know why? Because I didn't know this. So a guy was telling me, look, when I first came home, and he says, look, do you want to talk to a psychologist? I said, for what?
Because prison is a mental institution.
Right. But I never even thought about this, what he said. So now I'm meeting guys who do 30 years. I have a friend did 40 years coming home. He told me out, and he told me he want to go back to prison. So I thought he was crazy. But then I laid down, thought about it. Damn, ain't nothing out here for this guy here, right? It's hard for him.
Food, clothing, shelter,
For free.
right? Free.
3 hours in the cot.
Three, exactly. As we say, 3 hots in the cot. You know how it goes.
You don't have to make any decisions for yourself.
Right.
It's all decided.
It's all designed, set up, you know what I mean? Secure.
Food.
I got
and-
news for you. I never slept so well as I did in prison.
You guarantee the job. You
Yeah, no
guarantee the job.
stress.
You only
Yep.
gonna make 4 cents an hour.
No,
But yo, you go to Unicorn though. Go to Unicorn, you make $100 a month.
yeah, but then you got guys like us who don't go $100. People got to make $700 a month for overtime. We got guys like us don't believe it. Or
I
I
worked
do
there
overtime too, yo.
I
Yo.
worked there for 1 year. The
was
worst
in
thing I ever
Unicorn?
did in my life. I worked there for 1 year.
And you
My
stop.
whole bid. I worked there because all the people that I hung with, that I played sports with, worked there. So they in there having fun. So
And
I
it got
said,
you
all right,
in. Yeah.
got me in, and I got myself out. I thought about it like that.
because
For the benefit, let me
Unicorn
explain.
was building prisons to get money
Right.
out of prisons.
Crazy, right? Crazy. I know it's crazy.
Right.
Let me explain something for the benefit of people who don't know. In prison, in the federal system, I believe it's $300 max you're allowed to have in your commissary account. And typically, you know, people's loved ones are sending in money, you know, on a monthly basis. So you can go and buy cans, you know, packages of tuna fish and
Mackerel.
batteries and shit like that. But if you don't have someone doing that, an alternative is you work. And you can have a normal job where they pay you like 11 cents an hour,
Yep, I pay
pre-tax,
12 cents.
or 12 cents, or you can work at Unicor, which
Or
is
Unihor.
essentially
No, Unicor always shut
Well,
down.
you know they shut down all the
it's-
unicorns though.
They shut them down.
Shut
it's
down.
slave,
Oh, shut
literally
down?
slave. Okay, everyone that shut down. It's
Oh, shit, I
slave
didn't know that.
labor.
Yep.
It's slave labor. You get paid like $100 a month. It's some deal that some local business has with the warden, and they get all the workers to work for almost nothing, and they make beds and they make all kinds of mattresses and shit like that that they can use and sell back to the prison.
Hold on, Richard. Can I
And-
please add to that? Can I please add to that real quick?
Oh, yes.
Hold on. You have private sector and you have government sector.
Right.
I mean, I'm saying public and private sectors that they do contracts with. Victoria's Secret was using Unicor. Of course, the United States Army was using Unicor, and so many other private corporations were using Unicor to create their products.
To get slave labor.
That's right, legally get slave labor.
Legal
You
slave
know what,
labor.
though? They had people from overseas, like from other countries.
Yeah,
They used to work there overtime, take that money and sit at home. $500 a month
right.
and sit
Yeah.
at home.
I didn't know they got rid of Unicor.
Yeah, thank God. Yep, they did.
They did a segment on 60 Minutes about people out in
Exposing them.
not able to have a job, but you got people in prison
That got
taking their jobs because they bid on, they bid on the job.
Contracts. Yeah, they bid on
Yeah.
exactly.
Right. Easier for a prison to get the contract because they're gonna pay the people cheaper.
Exactly.
Let me-
They can undercut the bids. Undercut all the bids.
Let me ask you this. So if you said unicorn is no longer in existence, unicorn
Unihor.
is no unicorn, exactly. Is no
All
longer in existence. And what percentage of the population of inmates that found that out were pissed?
of them that work there because there's no more money in the jail. If you got 20 years, how much money you think your people gonna continue to send you? They might do it 2 years, 3 years. If you was a shit bag on the street, you ain't getting nothing anyway.
But you know what? Some places
Right.
But you know what? Now, there's a few jails who have a little unicorn left, right? So a lot of people try to get transferred over to them jails. I'm thinking 'cause I'll be talking to a bigger, my guy right now, right?
There might be 1 or 2 or 3 around 4.
Craig, who's in the audience, he writes,
It's still Unicorn.
Craig!
he just left USP Terre Haute in January, and the
Terre Haute.
unicorn is still there. So I guess some of the facilities
Yeah.
still have.
They weaning, how you saying that they weeding them out.
Yeah.
So a few of them is maintaining, but for the majority of the prisons, they're gone.
Right, they stopped
And they
using
also
them.
say the feds aren't doing business with privatized prisons anymore.
Yeah, private
Stop
sectors. Private
Right.
sectors any longer. Right. They probably stopped the private sector work and still
Right.
doing the government work.
Right.
Perhaps
That makes
the greatest injustice relating to inmate labor in California, they let inmates out to fight fires with all of these, brush fires that are
Let them
throughout
die
the
first.
state.
In New York City, they was letting them guys out of Rikers Island to go bury the people that was dying from COVID. You know that.
Yeah. Good point.
But hold on. What was amazing was that a lot of these guys, when they get out of prison, a lot of them wanted to pursue a career as a firefighter. They were doing the work, they enjoyed it, I guess, and you can earn a living doing it, but you have to be licensed to be a firefighter in California. So for the guys who were prisoners getting paid $1 an hour to risk their life, that was okay. But once they got out, they weren't allowed to apply for a job as a firefighter in California.
Because they got a felony. Because they got a felony, right, Richard?
Just think if you gave a person an opportunity to do something, a felon or whatever. Now look how much those guys look forward to them jobs. They wanted to come out and do that. They don't get a chance to do it.
And think about it like this. So it's political too, because if 600,000 inmates are released every year, imagine how many jobs that we could do that they're not going to give us because we're taking the jobs from people who are law-abiding citizens, and we're taking an opportunity from them. So who comes first? second-class citizens after you're arrested and convicted and you're a felony and you got a felon, or first-class citizens who are law-abiding and productive citizens of the society? Come on.
Well, let me give you another point of view on that. And this is from my experience. I've been out 7 years.
Go for it. Let's go, Gucci.
Working these jobs. I'm trying to start my own business. I got the truck parked outside my yard right now, a box truck. I'm gonna get that popping within the next whatever.
Okay.
But let me say this. In my experience, the guys that come out of prison that you give a job to work better than the people who ain't never been.
Richard got the stats. Richard knows this off the top of his head.
They take it for granted. They lazy as I don't know what. Them guys that come out of prison, they bust their ass.
Richard, they did a test. Richard, tell them the test they did. They took.
Okay, allow me to do so, D.
The stats.
What you're saying, Gooch, that you have seen is in fact very, very true. We are partners with they're called the Society for Human Resource Management, or SHRM. They are the human resource organization globally that every big company belongs to. And they do studies every year. And what they have found is that hiring managers who hire folks with records, 80% of them believe that the work of someone with a record is as good as, if not better, than someone without a record.
You know,
and why? Exactly what you said, because they don't have options. If they can't say, fuck this, I'll get another job, because they're not going to get another job. So they make it work. They show up, they're appreciative, they don't have an attitude, even if it's some shitty job. Thank you for giving me a chance. I'm gonna bust my ass, I'm gonna stick around and make it work.
They need that job.
And companies who try it out inevitably come back to us and they say, we love these people, send us more. That's the truth.
Yeah, they're dedicated. They know they got probation to answer to. They got bills to pay at the house. They're not trying to fuck up.
And they ain't trying to go back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, yes,
I love him, Richard. I love it's music to my ears every time Richard states those facts about that.
Well, I'm here to make music for you, Jake.
Make beautiful music.
And Devon,
Music
let
on
me
the
make
yard.
it clear that even if you get arrested 3-4 more times, you're still going to have a job with us. Okay? So
But don't.
you don't
But
have to
don't.
worry.
But don't.
But
Yes,
don't.
but don't.
But don't.
You know what? The system, we all know the system. And because I just might ask about recidivism. So they set us up from the door, right? So when you first come home, they says, you know what? Take up this re-entry program for 6 months before you come home.
Yeah.
You go to re-entry, they don't ask you shit. They don't tell you shit. They just have you to come in, you sign the paper, get the fuck out of here, right? So you go out there blind. You don't know what's out there. So if I know, and I can speak for Gooch too. You do over 2 decades, right? You don't know what to expect. All right, was I, damn, what's this? But what I did know was people wasn't gonna change. On them corners will be the same junkies, the same motherfuckers ain't gonna do shit, the same fucking bombs. I knew that part did.
Right.
That
shit don't change.
It don't change. Only thing would change was different buildings, right? So I knew this. So in my mind, I wasn't gonna fail. I would have my own business. I never had a job before in my life.
Create your own job.
Huh?
Create your own job.
Right. So I was telling a few people this story. So when I first opened my store, I had made the first 3 months and I filed tax. I didn't know better. I filed fucking taxes, right? And I made very, very money. But I didn't give up the hope. I said, you know what? I'm paying rent in the store. My ass gonna stay in the store, right? So in the back of my store, it was like a cell. So mentally, I was fucked up. I was still in prison. But in the daytime, I go to the front of my store, I'm home.
Right. Wow.
So my woman, she used to make me breakfast in the morning, come by, give me the breakfast, you know, at night. She's always telling me, come out of the house, sleep in this nice warm bed. I thought she was fucking crazy. I'm sleeping in a warm couch right now. It was more comfortable than anything.
Right.
So psychologically, you messed up.
Right,
okay?
right. You off.
And then when shit don't go right, you start thinking about your old habits.
Right.
Yeah.
And
You
that's how
know, what's really crazy? Almost everybody who gets released is on supervised release. That means parole or probation.
right.
And one of the terms, that's when you let out a little bit early to live in a halfway house, which is worse than any fucking, I was in Rikers Island, man. The halfway house was worse in the South Bronx where I was. But one of the terms of your release is that you may not talk to anyone who has a record. So here you are, you're first out of jail or prison after 20 years or 10 years or 5 years. You have no money, you have no job, you have no car, you have no home, you have no clothes, and you have no idea what you're going to do with your life. And who is available to talk to? Nobody. Because the people you know, people around you, the people you've been with, they all have records. And they can violate your supervised release and send you right back to prison if they find out you're hanging out with the wrong people.
And the other thing too, Richard, on that is that the people that haven't gone through the system, they don't know what you've been through. Exactly. They can't relate. They can't even like, it's not helpful. Yeah. I mean, that's
that.
Hey, Chef, they
don't believe it when you tell them that.
Yeah.
They don't believe it if you tell them that if I walk in your house and you got weed or a gun, as far as
can't mess with it.
It's mine. It don't matter if I never seen it. I didn't know where it was at. It was in the
attic. Oh, that's your gun, Gucci. That's your gun, Gucci.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. And that just to come full circle a little bit. I mean, that's the main reason we created Commissary Club, right? Is to have people that are looking out for each other, that know what's going on, that know what's happening, that know how to, when you first go down, there's people looking out, right? Like, I mean, that's what this whole conversation has been about, right? Is people looking out for you and go, okay, do this, don't do that. And I got a couple questions I want to ask you guys around the do this, don't do that part too. But like,
you got to spoon feed the audience because there's so much information. Like, it's like mumbo jumbo, it's mixed around. You got to spoon feed them because when I first came into the system, I was so green, I almost got killed 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then, when you get out, there's nobody giving you the same path, right? I mean, you guys were down for 20 years, 27 years. Like, I mean,
they're in jail.
Yeah, and I was down for 5. And when I got out, my sister, bless her heart, got me a smartphone a couple months after I was at the halfway house. And I didn't know how to make a phone call. I go, this is amazing. Alyssa, this is amazing. Thank you so much. But how do I call you? How does this work? I don't know what's going on.
I have to point something out here, and this is not to put anybody on the spot, but it's just to show the reality of how the criminal justice system works. You have guys that commit financial crimes and go to jail for less than 5 years, right? Now you have other guys who commit drug crimes and go to jail for 27 years or 30 years. Like, the system is so fucked and so systemically racist. That's
another show.
It's sickening.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah.
Hey, but Javon, let me tell you this right here. So you back, you was right, Father Tom. But I done met so many guys with that financial shit. They getting 20 years, 25 years.
Hold on. That depends how much money they took, though. How much money did they steal? How much money did they report on taxes?
They get that type of time now because of that Bernie Madoff and stuff. What Bernie Madoff did, now they busting everybody's head.
And the Indian guy, Raj.
A lot of people.
Yeah, and the Indian guy, Raj, he got knocked off. He got 11 years.
If I sell you a drug, you wanted that drug. If I didn't have it, you would have got mad at me. I didn't like disguise myself and steal your money. Selling drugs, they sell themselves. They walk up to you and say, you got it? If I don't got it, they might slap the shit out of me because they want that. But I mean, when you're talking about financial crimes, you lying under false pretense. You stealing money, running pyramid schemes. You messing with elderly people, all that type of stuff. You should get way more time than I get. I don't own no boat.
Exactly. Hold on. So the contrast is that most people in the position to be able to do financial crimes are non-black. So that being said, right. So that being said, the system is already set up to where if you're non-black and you commit those type of crimes, we already know. Look at the cocaine and crack. I mean, I'm a victim of that.
I ain't
You know
getting
what I mean? You sold 100 kilos of coke, you're good. I sold 5 grams to 10 grams of crack. I'm going to jail forever.
I don't got no Mexican submarine. I ain't got no tractor. How that get over here? I don't fly no spaceship from Peru over here.
Straight
How
up.
that get over here? I just woke up and it was in the neighborhood.
So there's a lot of work to be done in this country around criminal justice reform, and Commissary Club is happy to be have our foot in that arena.
I applaud y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me ask you a question. When you guys pull these really long sentences for drugs, you know, when you were down, did you feel resentment to other people who had lighter sentences for things that may have actually been worse? Was that a
No.
source
You
of?
can't help but do that. I mean,
No,
it's going to happen.
Keep it real, Gucci.
You don't hate
God,
on
keep
them
it real, Gucci.
like that. It is like that. But like Ali said, he said that shit the best. I don't even want to repeat it. Tell him, Ali, go ahead, get the mic.
All right.
Let me listen.
So listen to this. So when we do a crime, right? And believe it or not, I don't know if y'all remember Prende, right? Prende. So Prende saying that if it's not on your indictment, you know, the punishment don't fit the crime, right?
Right.
The defendant is the first one to write a doctrine about Apprende. That lawyer from New Jersey used his work and got this guy, white guy, out for shooting at a black guy. Apprende niggas time down. Okay, so now when you're in there, of course you look at a person. This motherfucker did this. He done raped all these kids and got all this little bit of time. Here it is. I'm a drug dealer. Here, of course, sometimes you get upset. At that person, not the system itself, that person. But more importantly, you upset at yourself because you say, you know what? I put myself in this fucked up position, right? Now, in my case,
pedophiles in federal prison right now today. It's law, it's rules that say you cannot touch them. Don't touch them.
Don't touch them.
No, don't.
You better not touch them. You touch them, you're gonna get that little extra 20 years.
Touch who?
Society thinks that a pedophile goes in prison
okay.
and he gets his ass beat and all of that stuff. You can't touch him. You can't touch him. That's like Virgin Mary.
They get a little time. They get a little time. They get 5 years, 10 years, right? They get very little time.
Yeah.
You know, so this is like,
So your position then, Andray, is forgetting about the individual crimes in general. You looked upon the things that you did and you felt like compared to other guys you were around, it was essentially racist, unfair, whatever. Did you resent those people is what I'm trying to say?
No, I did not resent anyone, right? I resent more, believe it or not, on myself. I came home, so before I got locked up, I was a single parent. Right?
What?
I was a single parent.
Okay.
I had my son by myself. So my biggest resentment was me. So all the time I've been in prison, I spoke to my son every day. Right? So any advice I had to give him, or the advice was me coming from prison, and then of course, out here is different from inside, and the world has evolved, right?
Right.
Alec, can I say one thing? Let me take the mic. I had resentment for the guys that were snitches with the 5K1s, with the rats.
Right.
But what got me through, Devon, check me out. What got me through is what I looked at was guys like him. I had 21 years. He had 30-something years. So I'm like, he walking around, and he was definitely exactly who he say he is. If I had a Bible right here, I put my hands all over it. He was a mentor to the young brothers. He helped everybody. He was the mayor. He stood in front of the compound in politics. Young brother, get your shit together, this, that, and the third. You out here playing basketball, or you ain't in the law library. I'm going to take you to the law library tomorrow.
He was a true OG's OG.
He was.
I can hear it in his voice. I seen his demeanor, man.
He played all sports. He was coach of the year several years. He played football, quarterback, basketball, baseball, bocce ball, every ball you could think of. And he made sure that the young boys was all right. I was his man. Me and him had very intimate time. He made it seem this guy on the yard, but me and him, he gonna come to my cell and sit down on my rack.
He like the general. You was a lieutenant.
I was. I still am.
Yeah, no doubt.
I still am.
Salute the
I
general.
can beat him now, though. Hey, I think I can beat him with my hands now. You know what I'm saying? But he's still my.
Oh, his name is Ali, though. Hold on. His name is Ali.
I tell you this.
Oh, yeah, he
Get
got
the robot,
though.
So I used
got them
to,
hands.
as I got older, right, I met so many older guys, right? And I used to sit down with them, talk a little bit, right? Catch a little shit from them. Then once I was started becoming older, have a lot of time in, I gave back. But
Right.
you could forward to someone else, right? So I started creating little programs, talking. And one day we had a program and we were trying to fix the system. And the Mexicans was, you know, they was beefing that bunch of a million of them. And we tried to figure out what's your beef with everybody else. And we had everybody in this one room. And then we got to understand, right? Of because everybody have this different view on a black or white or a Puerto Rican instead of
Hispanic,
right? Dominican. So everybody, you know, they look at everybody different, you know. Whereas we grew up in the same area, so we good. They from way the fuck over there.
Word.
One go, they all go.
They got a rule that I don't care if you're Spanish and it's on go time, you going or you getting it. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care if you know how to fight. They don't care if you Guatemalan. They don't care if you Mexican. If you Spanish, if they get into it, put your tuna fish cans in your laundry bag or
Yeah, get
whatever.
busy. Let's get busy.
Get your knife, get your thing. You got to go. And everybody who didn't go, they coming to see them. And they gonna send word to the next jail that they go to. Continue to punish them. We didn't have that because, to be honest, as black people, we already thought that we was the baddest motherfuckers in the world, especially with our hands. Can't nobody beat us. That's what we thought.
Straight up.
We really didn't think that. Like, and with my hands, I'll beat anybody's ass. I feel as though. But they don't play with their hands. Ain't no hands.
Right.
They ain't got no problem. They don't got no problem pulling that big ass lawnmower blade out on.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? We just started to know that me and my homie, that we get Jersey and New York together, we about to punish the compound.
You already know. You already know. So everybody, this is the yard takeover. If you notice, this is the yard takeover right now.
No, you know what happened?
So hold on for a second, Andre. Let me just we only have a little bit of time left, so I got to get a couple of things done if you don't
15 minutes.
mind. One thing we do from time to time that really I think would be great, because particularly you, Andre, you're advising people on this very thing, so you're the expert. But we do I want to do like a lightning round here, okay? I don't even want you to think. I want an answer that's 1 or 2 words, the first thing that pops into your head. Tell me, Andre, what got you through your 27 years? Quick.
My son.
Your son. Seth, what got you through it? God. Divine?
Yo, spirituality. Definitely.
Gooch?
I didn't want to lose in life. I wanted to be back in the world. I had to make it back.
You had to make it back. Okay. For me, it was guilt. Guilt was the thing that I needed to resolve.
Wow.
Tell us now what you're doing to help people and what your consultancy is all about, Andre.
So all right, so before I came home, I studied everything about the BOP. It's the federal system, right? Even though I knew this from the door. So I had all this paperwork, came home. I said, I want to be a prison consultant. Because there's so many people doing crime at the time, and they was paying so much money for just advice, right? And the biggest advice I was given first, best advice was mind your business. So everything else was a plus, right? It was an extra because the first rule was mind your business. So look, you ain't need nothing else. So I happen to have a store which I have a kitchen and bathroom cabinets.
What's it called?
Calico Design. So I sell kitchen and bathroom cabinets. And nobody never thought that I would do what I'm doing now in regards to my company.
Because we thought you was gonna be a barber.
They thought I was gonna be a barber. I cut hair too, right? So
we multifaceted, man.
He is. He's the jack of all trades.
Oh, no, I can do anything, right? I make pastry too. So look,
You're a pastry chef.
You make the best cheesecake.
Goddamn pastry chef. Was you making them good?
Let's get back to
birthdays and shit in prison.
Okay, so anyway, yes. So I deal with some people here, and now I feel sorry for a lot of them because they come, they want to talk to you, they green, they wife and kids. Now they bring their wife and kids to my store. They're looking all sad, asking these questions. And at first, I thought it was the dumbest questions ever, right? How it's gonna be? Is they gonna feed them? You know, can you use the telephone? Or can you write me a letter? Shit like that, right? So I come to realize that they was watching the show called Eyes, and that's why they mentally was fucked up, right?
Yeah.
I never knew it. So, but you have a lot of other consultants, and so my job was to make them feel relaxed, at ease. No, it's gonna be okay, right? This is gonna happen. You know, when you come in, they're gonna script search you. You're gonna bend over. You're gonna crack your ass.
They're gonna look in your ass.
Yeah, they're gonna look in your ass. They're gonna tell you to
look inside your soul. They're gonna tell you to hold your balls up and cough.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah.
They going down the dark hole, the dark pathway.
You was there, right?
Yeah, right. I was there. Come on.
Yeah, it is.
Hell yeah.
Actually, these things here.
They going to the motherfucking black hole.
Once you give them everything that they need to know, they feel good. So I give them a big package, you know, maybe about 90.
All right. So people hire you for this, Andray?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
And this is something that you're making, you can earn a living from in conjunction with the kitchen business.
Yes. So my kitchen business is my living. Because sometimes you feel sorry for a person, right? You really want to hit them hard. You want to, because everybody got an excuse. Everybody is fucking broke. Oh my God, my son was a professor, but he gave away all the money for a lawyer. Everybody say that, right? Well, we only have $7,500 to give you and X, Y, and Z. So I said, no worries, I take it. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
$7,500, I'll take it too.
Right. So, you know, so them little things you get. Then sometimes you feel sorry for a person, right?
I think he said $75.
Oh, $75, oh.
Yeah. So you feel sorry for a person, right? I feel sorry for a lot of people.
So let me ask you, I want to make sure people, if they know someone who could use your help, how would they get in touch with you?
Listen, by my email.
Which is?
andray.j.hall@gmail.com. So it's andray.j.hall@gmail.com.
Andray.
Can you put that inside the
Here it is.
inside the chat, Richard?
Yep.
The manager did.
Okay,
Just put it up there. If you want to get in touch with Andray because you're going away or because a loved one is going away and you want to do something very productive, I got news for you. I always felt that the time before I went to prison was worse than the time I was in prison because because I thought of Oz, like you just said, I thought of the worst. I'll be raped the first night I'm there. I'm gonna, all kinds of problems. Of course, it's nothing like that. But if you have someone to set you straight, it's money well spent. And you clearly know what the fuck you're talking about, having been there and at a high level.
For a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. Gooch, tell us, you mentioned you're working at a food processing company currently, but you have a business that you're working on with your trucking. What is that going to be?
I got my own box truck that I'm a owner operator. I will say this, being incarcerated and coming from where I came from, it wasn't a whole lot of information. I thought you could just buy a truck and just put it on the road and start picking up locals. Don't work like that.
Right.
Somebody, please, if you listen and do your due diligence, go get the book, study everything you can. Be a better listener than you are a talker, and you're gonna learn a whole lot. Because I had no clue all the things that you needed and how much it cost just to start up a business. And I've never had the door slammed in my face so many times. But I'm still fighting. I got that truck. I'm losing money. I'm paying insurance. I'm paying everything.
But they always make sure we have barriers to entry.
Right.
The other thing too, I just want to make a note too, like put your services on Commissary Club on the app. Get it, if you haven't downloaded already, download it. Put it on there. There's people in New York, there, in New Jersey that we got that could use your services
community
if you're ready. Yeah, absolutely. See, if you have questions about it, yeah.
Can I ask y'all another question? Who came up with the name Commissary Club?
Well, there's a big debate about that.
There's a huge debate about that.
Because do you know how important commissary is in prison?
Yes.
Yeah, it's your lifeblood. Commissary's your lifeblood. It's like your chance to return to the streets.
Right. That was a good title.
The commissary
Thank you.
was a place where business occurred and where socializing occurred together, because you're online inevitably for like 14 hours to buy off-brand, overpriced crap that you don't have the money to buy it with, but you need to get it nonetheless. So Sid posted on the comments, this is fucking great. He has a link to the BOP and it's got the commissary list. Right. And you would go through it like that day with a pencil and check off what you wanted. You'd go with your mesh bag and they would throw the shit in there.
Mesh laundry bag.
Everyone knew what you got. And you'd go back to your housing unit. So
you make nachos that night.
You better hope somebody ain't standing outside with a razor to bust your bag open and take your stuff.
Yeah,
for real.
That was boy in town, right?
Dirty bastards.
Boy in town, they rob you all the time.
Andre.
All right.
Yep.
One thing I just want to let you know that Seth Ferrante sends his love. He remembers being in Fort Dix with you, playing football, doing his thing with you. He said, peace and love. I put his number inside the chat to you. He said, text him, give him a call, man.
Yeah, I love Seth.
Yeah.
I love Seth.
Yeah, Seth is a man.
Yeah,
all right. Before we go, Seth, what are you working on now? What are you hoping to get done?
You talking to me?
Well, you or the other Seth in the room. Yes,
Seth Ferrante was here. So first of all, that joke doesn't actually really work.
No, Seth left. You said briefly.
I mean, my goal, just like the whole team's goal, is to get everybody together. You know what I mean? Commissary Club is the space that we want to create. That's we got to think of a better term than bias for us, because that's when Fubu's got that one. But it's folks like us that know what it's like, and we've navigated the first few months of reentry, the first few years of reentry, the first 20 years of reentry. Like, everybody jump on that platform, get there, and help each other out. I mean, we like we talk about this whole time, nobody knows it better than we do. And, there's nobody that's going to lift us up and help each other out and, buy and sell and utilize each other's services and, the whole thing that everybody's doing. So that's what gets me real excited about what Commissary Club is.
Okay, thank you, Ferrante. And D, what is something that you got to make happen in the short term?
Man, change is possible. Success is certain if you execute, man. And every day I'm trying to execute to make that a reality for myself in my personal life and in my professional life, man. And Commissary Club is part of that. Just making sure that I could be a beacon and a light for other people that have been through the same experience and show them that, you can make it, you could do it.
With you, you're so articulate and so on point, and every time you start talking, there's just great stuff that comes out. So I expect great stuff to come from you, and I'm glad, we're sort of doing it all together. That's about it for tonight. We really appreciate Andray and Craig for joining us.
Yeah,
This
for sure.
was-
Thanks, fellas.
This is a great episode, man. Great episode.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed being here. We've definitely enjoyed being here.
Yeah, you brought the realness, man. You brought that real shit to the table, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Every episode has sort of a different feel to it. And this was definitely, you know, like among the realer things, you know, with people just talking the way, this is the way you talk in the yard, you know?
We're gonna title this one "Mind Your Business."
Yeah. Mind your damn business, boy.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say this right here. I want to
Andray, Gucci,
prison.
Craig, my brothers, man. You know what it is, man.
You know, we are here. Look, representation for you all. And look, just keep the faith. That's
Yeah, join Commissary Club. Make sure you guys create a profile on Commissary Club.
You know what?
Join us. Reach out. There was a whole network of people, community people that need you, need your advice.
Yeah, we have a very large community of people.
Yeah,
and
man.
like Seth said, if we're not helping each
Here we
other.
go.
we're
Commissary
done.
Club.
Commissary.club. You got it. Yeah.
One last point I want to just bring out. Next week, we're going to have a great show. We have a woman by the name of Clover Perez, who is well known in the community. And I'm going to be hosting it with my good friend Topeka Sam. She and I, and for those of you who were, you know, a few weeks ago, Topeka was on as a guest. She's amazing. You know, she's buddies with the Kardashians and Oprah and all these people and Shirley Johnson. And she's an amazing force of nature. And Clover, I've never met, but I hear amazing things about her. So, you know, we really feel, you know, that women, while they only comprise maybe 20% of the prison population, they get so screwed over by the criminal justice system above and beyond anybody. And, you know, we just want to bring attention to what they go through particularly. So I'm going to have my good friend Topeka helping us with that. So that'll be a good one, I'm sure. But we want to really thank you guys again. You're great.
Yep.
If there's anything we can do, but we would love to invite you all the time to hang out with us whenever you feel like it. We're honored to have you. You guys are class acts, and you're smart and you're funny, and we only wish you the best and continued success.
Thank
So
you so much.
everybody,
Thank
Thanks,
you to the
y'all.
audience for always tuning in. The regulars, thank you again, Andray. Thank you again, Gucci, Craig. You know what it is, man.
Yeah. Peace.
everybody
Really?
have a great night.
Have a
Stay
good night.
safe.
Yep. All right.
Have a good night, everybody. See you next week.